So interesting. Can you play that clip? Can you play that clip of this? And then I'll tell you fast. Have you seen this yet or no?
I have not seen of the IRS.
Ben, you've seen this? Okay, so make it bigger, just full screen and press play, and then I'll tell you fast forward it. So first you just see them walking up, and you're like, okay, maybe these are new IRS grads. They're excited. They're celebrating. How cool is this? Isn't this awesome? We're about to go play with some, I don't know, arcade, or we're going to do some Monopoly. Then go to minute 1. Go to 1 minute, halfway through. Halfway. Look at this. Where's your tax money?
Mm-hmm. Look at how that guy's holding it.
Those thumbs. You can tell he was in the military before.
Yeah. What are they saying? Can you hear that?
No, they're role playing.
That's what I'm saying. What are the questions they ask?
IRS special agent.
I'm not saying a thing. All right. You do what you got to do. I'm not saying a thing. Turn around.
I have a gun. I have a permit. It's legal.
Behind your back.
Can we take your weapon, please?
Well, if you're going to ask me, I don't know. I'm going to say no.
All right.
Spread your legs.
Getting arrested?
Do you have any other weapons on you?
No.
Can you please put your hands behind your back?
This is real, by the way. This is not a movie. This is not Saturday Night Live.
No, this is
not a spoof. This is not a skit. This is not Vincent Oshana. This is real, okay? This is not he's at Nancy Pelosi's office type of situation. This is really a training that they're doing with the new IRS agents.
I'd be very interested in knowing if there's ever been a training like this before under any presidential regime. Is this new? Have you ever seen anything like this?
I haven't seen anything like it.
I've never seen anything like this.
It's extremely worrisome.
Well, the IRS has been weaponized for years now. Whether or not the training happened, they've had millions and millions of dollars in weapons and ammunition for years.
Yeah.
How long?
10 years? 15 years?
So this goes over multiple presidents. Why does the IRS need weapons?
Because as in any tyrannical state, you have to rule by fear.
Yeah, but according to our friend Tyler over here, this has been going on for decades.
Official report
where are we saying tyrannical? Are you saying the American?
We've been marching up toward tyranny, and we're getting close to the top of the staircase.
So this is from Forbes. Official report says at the end of 2017, the tax agency had 4,487 guns and over 5 million rounds of ammunition in its weapons inventory. This was published by the Government Accountability Office. And this was a report at the end of 2017. So who knows how long they've had the weapons for, right? You don't buy 4,500 guns in a year.
But walk me through why the IRS would need weapons.
To intimidate people. To make people understand that you could die if you don't do what we tell you to do.
This is like literally who's the guy that said, "Why do you rob banks?" No, that's where the money is. I mean, that's the physical representation of that.
They have to come and get your money. How else are they going to continue this ridiculous spending?
But where are they coming up and give me your tax revenue? Are they going to businesses? Are they going to individuals? Are they going to corporations? When is this assault happening?
Obviously, they're not going to be going up to the billionaires and the people that they claim that they're going after. They're going to be coming after average Joe. That's why they need so many people.
With guns?
With guns. And they've been practicing. I saw an article yesterday or the day before of raiding homes and suburbs. I mean, if this is not a wake-up call for us, I don't know what is.
I'd like to know who leaked that video or like who put that video out there. This is very disconcerting, regardless of your left.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about it?
That's why I'm like, what is this? What is happening exactly? Like when they're doing these classes, who's putting these classes on? Who's running the show here? Anyone, left or right, if you don't see this and say, I don't think that's exactly too comforting, you're missing the point.
And this is not really a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue of America and American freedom.
I agree.
And who we are as a nation. And, people have got to wake up. I think they are waking up, to be honest with you. I think things have been pushed so rapidly that a lot of the people who were slumbering are waking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how they're saying they're targeting billionaires? You know how many billionaires we have in America? How many billionaires do we have in America right now?
Maybe a couple hundred?
Between 700 and 800.
That's not a big number. So we got 330 billion people. Oh, you're getting 87,000 IRS agents to catch 700 people?
Yeah.
You're trying to get 700 people that are billionaires to go after them. Give me a break. The math doesn't make any sense. But it's such great storytelling. You got to give them credit on the ability to tell the stories that we're targeting billionaires and we're going after them. You don't need 87 for 700 billionaires.
Well, class warfare and envy is a tool that politicians have used forever.
Many years,
to try to get their way. And, why won't they ever tell you, for instance, what is a fair share for rich people to pay?
What's the number?
The top 1% pays 37% of the federal income tax. 37%. Is that not fair that 1% could pay 37%? They won't ever tell you the answer to that.
Okay, can I ask you a follow-up on this? So this Inflation Reduction Act was initially supposed to be the Build Back Better Biden agenda. It got lampooned by essentially Joe Manchin, who would have been the 50th vote, or Kamala would have been the 51st vote.
Yeah,
Kristen Sinema as well.
Very disappointed that
and he held out for a year, and behind closed doors, he was working with Biden or Chuck Schumer to manifest this.
Or Bill Gates.
Or Bill Gates, allegedly. What do you think Joe Manchin, who has been iconic on the right these days and blasphemed on the left, and now he's being propped up again. Joe Manchin can't win or he can't lose depending on who, the time of day. What do you think happened there? Why did he co-sign this?
Well,
because this bill wouldn't have happened without Joe Manchin, right?
I asked them once. I said, Joe, why don't you just become a Republican?
You said this to him.
Yeah,
Right.
And he said, there's got to be somebody on the other side with some sense.
Which I assume you applaud, no?
Yeah, I say, yeah, that's right, until you lose that sense.
What happened in less than a month where he had this major common sense and now he gave into this? What do you think happened?
I believe it's possible to apply a lot of pressure to people. And I'm sure he felt that pressure. And, he probably knows that this is going to cost him his Senate seat. But I suspect that, he weighed the possible things that could happen to him, both good and bad, from a financial point of view. And he said, I'll find a way to make this work.
Yeah, but with Manchin, nothing was happening with the Biden agenda unless Manchin said yes. So he could have said, listen, I agree with all this, okay? The, inflation, Medicare, green, climate. Okay, cool. But the IRS, I'm not good with this. And that could have been killed, right? And they said, all right, well, because Biden has, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 more months to get some shit done.
Right.
Because in the midterms, it's expected to be a bloodbath. So he needed to get something done. Manchin could have just held strong and said, all right, we want this, don't want this. Why would a Manchin want something like 87,000 IRS agents? How does that benefit him at all?
Well, we're not going to know because we don't know what those private conversations were. But I'm sure they were very convincing.
Well, Bloomberg says it was Bill Gates. Bloomberg says...
let me read that story.
Yeah.
Can I read that story?
Yeah.
Is that the story you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, page 4, I'm going to read the story real quick. Bloomberg News exposes eco-hypocrite billionaire Bill Gates' involvement to save Biden's climate bill. Gates reportedly didn't just start his secret efforts to influence Manchin and other U.S. legislators to adopt his radical utopian vision on climate. As Gates revealed to Bloomberg Green, he has quietly lobbied Manchin and other senators, starting with Biden, had won the White House in anticipation of a rare moment in which heavy federal spending might be secured for the clean energy transition. Bloomberg said when Manchin expressed hesitancy to supporting new climate spending, Gates reportedly saw a unique opportunity. He tapped into a relationship with Manchin that he'd cultivated for at least 3 years. We were able to talk even at a time when he felt people weren't listening. Gates reportedly told Bloomberg Biden signed the mammoth climate bill today thanks to Manchin's newfound support during a ceremony at the White House. There's a lot of people on the right that actually like Manchin. How do you read this article when you hear something like this?
I think Manchin was given an offer he couldn't refuse.
Wow, you going Godfather style. Got it. Interesting.
Well, and Manchin was just interviewed yesterday by a Fox reporter and said, you voted for this Inflation Reduction Act. When is it going to reduce inflation? And he said something along the lines of, well, it won't. It's not like turning on a switch. It's not going to reduce inflation. These people are well aware that this is a ridiculous title for this bill. I mean, you're pumping, $640 billion into the economy? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, when somebody does something, they make a 180-degree turnaround, and you don't have a good explanation, it's usually because of something that they don't want you to know.
And that's Manchin is who you're alluding to.
Yes.
Interesting.
But it's not unique to kind of
No,
put a nice little name like the CARES Act under Trump. Exactly, like the CARES Act. All right, and even the bill that was the HEALS Act, the HOPE Act. Every bill that becomes a law is giving a little marketable name to it, though. It's not unique.
Unfortunately, people of America have lost faith in our government because of things like that, because of the way COVID was handled, because of what happened in Afghanistan. I mean, there's just so many. Why would you have faith in the government anymore? And it's a severe problem, because if we don't get it back, pretty soon, we're doomed.
Dr. Carson, what does this say about the state of American democracy that one senator holds so much power in his hands? Well, essentially, that's what it's come down to.
Well, I guess the question is, how did it get to the point that we're so polarized that one person could have that kind of power?
So you don't think this is a failure in democracy or the way government functions? You think this is a polarization?
It's a polarization issue.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that America's polarized, and if you want to use the word tribal. But let's give a little respect to Joe Manchin for a second, because how many Democrats are getting elected in the reddest state in the union? I mean, here's someone.
Not a lot.
Exactly. So you pride yourself on not making it about yourself, working with other people, putting your hand across the aisle. It's essentially what Joe Manchin's done for 40 years. So do you think something actually changed in the last 30 days?
Yeah.
Or you think something happened?
Yeah, I think they made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And what does that sound like behind closed doors? What does that mean?
I mean,
is that death threats? Is that money? Is that legacy? What is it?
It could be any of those things, but he is not a stupid person.
Nope.
And, he weighed things and says, how do I end up best off?
Mm-hmm.
And he made that decision.
So you think he'll just ride off into the sunset and never look for re-election again? And you don't think because he helped pass Biden's agenda that the people of West Virginia are going to be done with him?
You have a hard time with this because you're a big fan of Manchin.
I do like Manchin.
I know. And by the way, most people do.
Too.
You're not in a company where you're the only guy that likes him. What he's saying is there was an offer made that he couldn't refuse. What that is, he doesn't know. I don't think anybody knows. But when a guy named Bill Gates gets involved, you're talking about a guy that's got a lot of Did you see him when he was young and he was sitting there going up against the lawyer? Have you ever seen those conversations he had with the lawyer when he was younger? Have you ever seen that video or no?
Yeah, I've
of
seen
how he handled the lawyer? Mm-hmm. Do you know that whole scene where Mark Zuckerberg, where the guy plays him in Social Network? Do you know that's where the practice came from, really? Watching how Gates handled it. You're not talking to a lightweight guy. You're talking about a guy that he's gotten criticism of having Asperger's, which means emotions low, this, and obviously he's known for having a temper, but at the same time, when a guy like Gates gets involved, he's got many creative ways of pushing things through.
Right.
He's not a lightweight. This is a very heavyweight guy that got involved.
Mm-hmm.